What's up, guys? We're going to start a new series. This is Brian Vent, my friend. He's also a member of our Patreon mentorship group. And what we'd like to do is just do one improvement a week all year in 2022. So we're going to just go over one thing that we want to improve each week. And then hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be 52 improvements better. So Brian and I want to talk today about fixing old listings. So Brian, how are you approaching this? We could all use this help.
Well, when it comes to fixing old listings, what I do as part of my daily or weekly routine is go to your active listings, and I sort it by date, going from the oldest to the newest, and I pick X amount per day, and then I end those, and then go back, um, sell similar but totally reworking the whole listing. And currently, the ones I'm working on are like from January of 2021, so they've been there a while.
January. Oh, I see. A year old.
Yeah.
Great. So you want to start with your oldest listings. And what are you changing exactly?
Well, I'm kind of approaching it with fresh eyes because in January, a year ago, I was kind of new to clothing. I was just niching down and I was taking shortcuts, and the listings just weren't good. So what I do is I start with a title, I rework the title, and the way that Tech and Sports recommends, also eBay says this is the best way for search, which is typically brand, what it is, gender, size, and then the important keywords.
Awesome. So next week, I want to go over what we think a quality listing is. And as we're revising old listings, ideally, we're bringing them up to par so that they will sell in a reasonable time frame. So I'm going to define a reasonable time frame now as 1 year. And the reason is because that's what normal stores do. They keep inventory. They try to sell it in less than a year. Some items sell immediately, some items take all year, but you give it a chance to marinate through all the seasons. If it's potentially a seasonal item, if you have a Christmas item, might not sell for 11 and a half months right now. So I think fixing old listings is bringing them up to par so that they will sell. And for me personally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try text discount method on older items. So on the oldest items I have, I'm going to discount them 10%, then 20%, then 30%, then 50%, maybe up to 70, 80%. I think eBay allows you to go up to 90% off. And the reason why I want to do that instead of auction is if I'm going to discount the item, I'd rather get paid immediately than wait a week. And at the end of the discount period, if those don't sell, then I will do an auction at the lowest amount I'm willing to accept. And then if that doesn't sell, then I'll start the auction at 99 cents. And then if that doesn't sell, then I'll go ahead and donate the item. But that's like 4, 5, 6 months of trying to get it to sell on eBay. And I don't mind on the super old items that maybe I made a mistake on purchasing to let those items go for too cheap or less just to get the velocity of the store going. So I think that eBay does care about how your overall store is doing. So to me, I would rather have the item sell for 1 cent plus shipping than donate the item because I get that velocity bump.
And I think like the key is that you created a quality listing to begin with, and like my problem is those listings, they're not quality. And when I'm looking at the ones as I'm about to end them, for example, I saw one had over 1,000 views, no watchers. I knew when I saw that there was something wrong with the listing. And so when you actually go into the listing, I could see like it was under the wrong category, men's when it should have been women's, like something that was obviously really wrong. So I think if you have quality listings like that, I think your approach makes perfect sense. But I don't even know in my case if I discount it at 90%, like no one's going to be able to find it. So I think once I get my store complete, um, then that approach would probably work a lot better for me.
I love that. So I think maybe in this series, what we'll do is we will preemptively talk about what we want to improve the next week. So this week, fixing old listings, that's great because first week of the year, everybody wants to improve old stock. So next week, let's talk about doing a quality listing from the start. So we don't have to have this conversation again next year because all the listings in the store will be the same quality. I did that maybe 6 months ago. I just removed every item and just started over from scratch. And my sell-through rate has been above 1% since I did that. Meaning if I have 100 items in my store, I'm selling at least one. Right now, I'm selling roughly 50 a day with just like 4,300 listings. So I'd like to just maintain this quality. Next week, we'll talk about specifically what that quality is. But back to just finishing out our conversation on fixing old listings. Most of the problems from listings that I've been reviewing are just pricing issues. So I was looking at a Facebook forum and somebody had mentioned that eBay is a bunch of overpriced junk. That's how they envisioned the site. So some people think of eBay as an auction site, the oldest auction site, and it is. Some people think of it a place to find rare collectibles. I don't think people go to eBay though to look for goods they need immediately. Maybe they go to Amazon, but I think it's important. The number one thing I can see to fix old listings is making sure the price is not too high.
So, so thinking about that, like and I think we had talked about this with tech, like when you're thinking about your customer and eBay is wanting us to try to get those repeat customers. Like who is the eBay customer? And I think the eBay customers, based on the data I read, they're actually um, have are in the higher income brackets, but they're looking for good deals. So if we're selling pre-owned clothing, and I know you've talked a lot about this, Chris, it's how pricing is so important. If we're out of the pricing market by just a few dollars, like we may not even show up in the search. So do you
Yep.
think pricing is the most important element of when you're reworking an old listing to make sure you're in the right pricing points?
So for me, the number one criteria is what it is. So people have to be looking for it. So essentially, like if I'm going to use this restaurant analogy a lot this year. If you have something that's really tasty, unbelievable, people talk about it, it's really awesome. People will find your restaurant no matter what it is. Jen used the example of a handbag selling with only 4 words in the title. Essentially, all you need is like amazing corn dog, world's greatest corn dog. That's 4 words. But if that was true, you don't need any more keywords. People would seek you out. They would travel from across the world to eat your amazing world best, right? So the number one thing is the actual item. The next thing is the price point. So it could be $300 for this corn dog and people would travel across the world. But if you were in a normal location, that's too expensive and most people aren't finding world best items. So if you had just a corn dog, regular corn dog, you can't charge $25 for it. That's too much. People would see your $25 corn dog and just walk to the next restaurant. So it's really price sensitive. Somebody walking looking for lunch, if you just have an average item like just a regular corn dog, that's not special, and you could discount it all the way down to 25 cents, and some people would not buy it. Even if it was free, some people might pass on the corn dog because they just don't want it. But no one would pass on the world's greatest hot dog or corn dog for $1. If it was truly the best, it would have 100% conversion. People would walk by and be like, wow, I can have a world's best for $1. Every single person would convert. So pricing, what it is, maybe even I can define it as 4 keywords. If it can't sell with 4 keywords, it's not a quality item.
And and maybe that's where you're talking about the world's greatest corn dog. It made me think about I live in Texas and we have the Texas State Fair, and everybody can't wait to get the Fletcher corn dogs there. So that rings true. But in our case, where we're primarily selling everyday value, and we do come across the home runs occasionally, I don't think, and it took me a long time to realize this. I think it's finally sinking in that if you're small brand value, you can't try to get the top dollar and sell it at a reasonable time. Like when I look at Terapeak, it's tempting because you can sort high to low, and so you can look at size and different things, and you can see what something's sold for. And my default, or at least how I've always operated, is, well, if someone else got that, I should be able to get that because my pictures are good. I can good list. But how long are you willing to wait for that versus why don't I price it right in the average market and sell it faster and get that money to work for me more? So I think that makes sense what you're saying. If you don't have something that's rare, you shouldn't try to get all the money in the world.
This Fletcher is a great example. If you have a Fletcher corn dog and people know what it is, then you're already 90% of the way there because people know, recognize, and trust it. But if you show up to the state fair and do Brian's hot dogs or corn dogs, you will have to price it lower. And even if you price it lower, they may still not buy it. They may just go walk straight over to Fletcher and just get what they already know. This is, I just got back from vacation and there's a million restaurants along the road. How come 90% of people go to McDonald's? It's not better. Pretty much every restaurant, I am assuming, would have a better quality food potentially.
I think it's the consistency of McDonald's. People know
Yeah,
exactly what to expect, and
yeah,
you're saying pricing. It's a really good value, and you know what you're going to get time after time.
exactly. So what you're selling is 99% of it. So I think people need to realize if it can't sell in four keywords, like using a brand, if you put Gucci men's jeans, it's going to sell faster than Levi's men's jeans. Gucci is a heavier brand, has more of a following, more searches, way less inventory. And then pricing, that's it. Good price, a good brand like Gucci with a good price. Combine those two together, that's all of it. The other things, this is what I want to mention to round out today's call, is the item specifics, the pictures, and the rest of the title, and the business policies, and like a good return policy, you ship fast. Those are things that give you a better, those are like neon signs for Brian's hot dogs. Okay, so you have Fletcher, which is the name brand that everybody wants. But at Brian's hot dog stand, you have um, a neon line. You have free drink with every purchase. You have what your hot dog is served to you in 5 minutes or less, or it's free. You have we also serve fries, shakes, and burgers. You have all this stuff to draw people into your store. That is how you sell a common item. You have to really turn up the everything else to get people to show up versus Fletcher, since they're already known. If the owner said, you know what, today I didn't have time to put up my stand, I'm just going to sell out of the back of my truck, they would still buy it. They already know what it is. So it's different. If you are not a known brand, you have average items, then you might need every trick in the book to get people to show up. But that still doesn't guarantee sales like a brand like Fletcher.
Yeah. Those you mentioned the two key points, like an item that's in demand that people want, and the price. And I think if you think about it, you have to have them both. You can't like you could have a Fletcher's hot dog, but if I'm trying to charge $30 for a Fletcher's hot dog, nobody's going to want it. But
Mm-hmm.
if I price it in the market at the state fair, I don't know, say $5, $6, $7 somewhere in there, people are going to line up to get it. So you have to have both of those things to have an item sell.
And I think it's super important for people to realize that at the county fair in every state, there's only so many food booths, and it's much more difficult to get started. So it's okay. Don't worry. People who've been there for 20 years are going to outrank you, and that's okay. You just have to get started. So everyone is worried about selling things immediately. Maybe put the work in and develop the know-how and the niche and the branding to know which brands sell. Luckily for us as resellers, you can sell Fletcher's hot dog. You can sell only the top brands, but you have to spend your time sourcing. So Brian, before we take off today, what's the best place for people to reach out to you?
You can find me on YouTube at Texas Treasures, and I'm doing eBay content, reseller content, small channel, trying to show some of the things I'm learning from Chris and Tech and Sports in the group, and just trying to help. I found out a lot of I don't have a lot of viewers, but my viewers are typically like beginner resellers, and so I'm trying to use my previous teaching knowledge in the eBay field to try to help them. So you can find me at Texas Treasures on YouTube.
Awesome. So remember, guys, we're going to do one improvement every single week starting in 2022. And this week, the objective is fixing old listings. So everyone fix old listings. That's what we're going to work on this week. Next week, we're going to work on what is a quality listing. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you.